Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the next episode of us trying to recreate the Epic Store games UI. And in this part, we will fix some stuff in our authentication form, and we will add the client side and probably the server side validation. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll even finally connect our frontend to the backend. But I don't want to make this episode again under an hour, so let's just see how it goes. So I will start by running our front end, and this is dev, or yeah, it's dev. And let's open up Chrome. So I noticed one thing missing, and this is actually kind of embarrassing, but if we'll go to the register form, one thing that is missing is obviously email field, right? So let's add this real quick. This is under display name. So let's find it. This should be register form. And terms accepted, display name. Okay. So again, we need a controller. We need to close it. We need a name, and that's going to be an email. We need a control, which is going to be control. And then there's render. Yeah. So that's going to be a field that we need, the reference and the rest. And we need to basically return a field. So let me grab that. That should be good, except it is not. Oh, obviously, wrong parenthesis. I really hate that. You know what? Let me just be stupid about it. And let's just copy that. Okay, here we change this to email. We should pass the type, be email. Change that to email and should be good. Let's see where that renders. Not really. Okay. We have to close that. Okay, now that looks good. Okay, we need to make it full width. So full width true. Okay, now it looks correct. One thing though, we have to add it to register form input interface. So that's going to be email, and it's going to be a string. Yeah, so that's one thing. Subscribe do newsletter. This is good. Okay. Basically, this is what I wanted to achieve with that form. Let me see whether it is actually somewhere here. Let's do, I don't know, anything. Yep. Okay. So this is fine, and we have our email. What we should do now is to add our validation on the client side. We'll do both, and you should always do both because your API can be accessed by another client, and you should always try to maintain the coherent state of your data. So about adding the validation to the front end, we will use Joy library, and you might remember it because we are already using it here. Okay, so we'll use the same in the front end as we do in the back end. It only makes sense. Let's go with happy Joy, and then we need to install the types. So that's the one. Let's install these two. And actually, validation is rather easy to do in the front end if you're using stuff like Joy and React hook form, because what we'll do is the same as in the backend. I don't know where we did that in the backend already. Never mind. You just create a schema. So let's say validation schema, schema, and this is Joy object. And what we need is the description of our schema, and this is email, and we just type Joy string required, and then we should do stuff like name, Joy string required. It's gonna be all the same basically. Surname, Joy string required. Display name is Joy string required. Password display password Joy string required. And then for subscribe to newsletter, it's going to be Joy Boolean, but as you can tell, I'm not marking this as required because user can opt out from being subscribed to our newsletter. But what he cannot do is being opt out from accepting the terms of the service. So this is going to be Boolean. The invalid value for it is false, and in case this is invalid, so we're looking for any invalid message key, I'm going to say please confirm this field. Okay, so this is looking good. We don't need that actually. This is looking good, but and it will work, but one thing that is missing is validation of our country that would like to send to the API. And I was wondering whether we should actually send full country object. And if you don't remember, this is a name and a code. And I thought that would be a little bit wasteful. So what we can do is to just send the code and basically use that as an unique identifier for the country setting in our app. Okay, so to do that, we actually need to change our autocomplete a little bit. So this is staying the same, but will operate on code instead of a whole value, whole object of a country. So I will use onChange prop here. Oh, we have that already. And I'm gonna do chosen country. I'm gonna change it to, well, it can say like this. I will here use a code, right? But this actually forces us to change the interface that we're using here. We're gonna have country code here, and this is gonna be string or null. Object is possibly null. Well, it's not really. And then the value, right? Also, we have to change that because the data we're passing here is an array of an object, but we are using that only to display the proper label. And what we're working on is actually the code. So the code has to be taken from countries. We will find country field value should be equal to country code. That should work, and it should compile. And sorry, let's see. That shouldn't change at all. But now if I go to the data that I'm storing in our React form, this isn't a country anymore. It's only a code. So I guess that's way better. And this is exactly what we will send to the API. Okay, so that's one thing done. And then I can actually add this to my validation schema. And it's going to be joy string. There's allow. And what we should do is to check the countries and allow only the code of the countries. Country, oops, not that. Let's do the country code. That and that. Okay. And what this statement for the validation is saying is the country code has to be a string, and it has to be value that is one of the codes available if in our country list. So AF is allowed, but for example, I don't know, something like A6, yes, or a exclamation mark is not allowed, right? Because it's not in the list. Okay, and to hook our validation schema, we need a resolver here So it's going to be resolver, which is a validation resolver, and we need joy resolver, which I believe we don't have right off the bat, and we need to add it as a what? As a hook form resolver. It's going to be npm install at hook form resolvers. And this is great. So we have that, and maybe now I can import the resolver. No, it actually exists as let's bring that up. It's gonna be somewhere here. So form resolvers, joy. There you can find your joy resolver. Okay, and we have it here. Do I have to call it? No, I have to, yeah, I have to call it, and I have to call it with validation schema. And that should work, but let's see. For example, I could unpack the form state here to get the errors, right? And on submit, I can log the errors. Something's wrong. So let's see. Method no longer accept array arguments. Okay, that's fine with me, because we this isn't accepting the yeah, as you can tell by the signature of the function, it does not allow an array, it allows the collection. So we can transform that from one to another really easy here. Okay, let's try this. Use consumer controlled user. Okay, so that's the problem we already know, changing the controlled component from uncontrolled. This means we probably need to pass something like a default value, and I believe empty string or null. Actually, that should work. I'll just can't. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's see where we can get rid of that warning right now. Okay. Not really. Decide between using a control or uncontrolled autocomplete element. It is considered controlled if the value is not undefined. And shouldn't be undefined. Well, we'll leave that for a moment here. Let's see where our validation works. And the password is like anything. And nothing. Okay, maybe because the onSubmit isn't called at all. Yeah, okay. So country is not allowed, okay, and please confirm this field. So yeah, that should be country code. That's one thing that we have to fix. Okay, 20 minutes on the clock. So let's try that again. Okay, we probably have to reload it. Let's. Okay, this is horrible. And let's see now. Okay, so this is our error from our joy, right? From our validation schema. And there's a message, there's a type, there's a key, and there's a reference. Okay, so now it's time to handle these errors for each and every field in some elegant manner. So what we can do is really simple. Basically, here or our epic text fields, we can pass the error, which is a boolean, and it marks the given text field as having an error, and you will see that the given element will highlight in red. So that's one thing. So I'm gonna just cast that to boolean by using double exclamation mark, and then you can display an error message by use of a helper text, which will also be in red if the error exists. Rather, if the error prop has a true value, right? And also it will not display if something that is passed here as an undefined, which makes perfect sense. So errors, country code. Okay, that's one thing. And we can basically copy this and move on. That one is for the name. And it would be cool if we could get some type of help here. So maybe if we pass that interface here. Okay. This is for the name, this is for surname. Sorry, that one. Okay, so let's see. Do we have some? Yeah, now we have autocomplete. Just missing the generic interface to actually inform the hook form what type of fields are being used in given form. So let's go for surname. Then this is display name. Display name. This and this. Then we have an email, which is rather important to display. Email and email. Okay, password here. And what we can do with the password is, for example, to set the minimum amount of characters. So let's say, well, at least 6. Okay, you can go. Sorry, you can't go with a password that is shorter than 6. That is password. That is good. Terms accepted. So terms accepted here and here. And that's it, because I don't expect you to subscribe to the newsletter, since we'll definitely not write the functionality of the newsletter. Okay. Is this still working? Yeah. Okay, so now I probably have to reload. Okay. Let's see. Anything here, something that resembles the email here. And let's type short password. Okay. Cool. And yeah, I know we still have that problem. Oh. I passed something very wrong somewhere. Epic type password input. And let's see. Countries, display name, email password, errors, password. Let's see. What do we have here? Additional adornments, rest. Text field props. What is wrong here? Something is highlighting in red. No, okay. Property error does not exist. Yeah, it does not exist here. That's true. Here, okay. But the error comes from password input. Objects are not valid as a React child. Okay. Yeah, that does not accept the error out of the blue. So we have to change it a little bit. So let's see. You can simply just extend that type. Error is a boolean and helper text is a string. Then we can grab that and that. Let's see, and here we will add fragment, and here, if there is an error, use form helper text, because that's what helper text actually is. This is closed. Cannot find name error. Expression expected. Why? Unexpected token. The hell? Oh, okay. Never mind. This is good. And now error and do the conditional rendering. Here, helper text should be used to display the error, and mark it as error. Okay, actually, this could be just true because we will always display an error here. So that should be taken care of. Field error. Shouldn't we pass? Yeah, actually, pass messages here. That makes sense. Because this is the text we want to display. So yeah, not a whole object. That's where the error informing us about that we were trying to render object as a child came from, because we're supposed to display the message only. Country code message, and the message. Okay, and now it should be good, I hope. Let's try this again. Algeria. Some kind of password like 123. That should be, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this is how we can handle validation on the front end. Of course, if I extend my password and accept this, whole validation is correct now. No errors. This is perfect. So, since I wanted to keep this a little bit shorter, what we'll do right now is only to add the very same to the login form, and this will be the end of that episode. So we can really get rid of that and get rid of that. Get rid of that. And we can start building our schema, our validation schema here. And this is also an object of the email. Well, actually, we could do the email validation a little bit better. So let's try this. It's a little bit strange, but hear me out. This should be a string, and then we can call an email, but we have to pass a little bit of configuration here. There's a property TLDS, and we should set this to false. I'm not sure what this is exactly, but I believe it is trying to determine the correct format of emails for a given country or for a list of known countries, but we don't really know, we don't really need that. And then just say that this is required. And this looks good. And then another field is a password, of course. I'm gonna go joy string required. So this is great. We'll use this here. So resolver is gonna be joy resolver called with validation schema. So this is great. Can log the errors here. Errors, and this is coming from the form state. Okay, and now what we can do is simply say that the error here oops, is errors email, and the helper text is gonna be in errors email message. Right. And the same goes for the password. We'll need to set the password here. Okay, let's see. Let's go to sign in. Okay, let's try. Okay, so email is not allowed to be empty, but the password. That's not correct. That should be password message. Okay, so this is looking good now. Let's try this again. Okay, yeah, and if I switch to that, this is highlighted in red, so this is correct. Email is not allowed to be empty. And then, yeah, it is correct. Okay, I believe we should finish at that. So we have the register form, we have the login form, we have the validation set for it. In the next episode, what we should actually do is to connect these to the API, allow user to register and to log in, and obtain and use the cookie we get from the API to perform further requests. And in the episode after that, we should actually figure out, and this is really important, how to make our web application know that the user is already logged in. Yeah, but we'll get to that when we'll get to that. So I'm gonna see you in the next one. Please like, subscribe, maybe comment, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.